is the magic of goat milk? Now we have a look. Today I'm going to talk about two parts, goat milk and the goat milk infant formula. These two are pretty different. So for goat milk, I will talk about its composition, its bioavailability, and also energeticity. For goat milk infant formula, I will talk about composition, bioavailability, and also health effect and growth and tolerance. As you may have noticed, in this world, there are working a lot of cows, but just a few goats. Maybe as a result of milk availability, there are more cow infant formulas, but just a few goat milk infant formula. Nevertheless, goat infant formula is started in Europe, as Alfred already introduced. In 2012, the European Food Safety Authority issued a positive opinion about using goat milk protein for infant formula. Following this positive opinion, in 2013, the European legislation allows marketing of goat milk infant formula. So in 2014, Cabrita is marketed in Europe, but in China it's a little bit earlier. So when talking about goat milk, people say, goat milk, goaty smell. Is it true? So now I would like to invite you for a test session. So in front of you, there are two cups. One cup is a goat milk infant formula, so our Cabrita. Another is a cow milk infant formula. So under that, one is with a circle, another one is with a cross. Could you please take it, taste it and tell me which one is the goat? So are you ready? So those who think the cup with a cross is goat milk, please raise your hand. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So the 15 people, you have done well. So the 15, the cup with cross is goat milk formula. So most people didn't expect that. So do you say what I mean is there's no goaty taste in your infant formula? It's very difficult to distinguish that. So now I will go to talk about the nutrition aspect of goat milk. Alfred already mentioned that we use animal milk to make infant formula. When making infant formula, we try to mimic the composition and the functionality of human milk. But we still have a long way to go to be able to really mimic human milk. But nowadays, some researchers suggest that to make infant formula so similar to human milk, maybe the non-bovine milk is better to use than bovine milk. So the non-bovine milk, such as goat, sheep, or horse, their milk, the composition, maybe also other bioactive components, are more close to human milk than cow milk. In this sense, it's easy and more effective to use, for instance, goat milk to make infant formula. We will have a close look now. The milk composition, this slide you see it with Professor Lubert. After the presentation of Professor Dackhausen, I noticed this slide is not totally okay because the composition of human milk, the human milk oligosaccharide is missing. So I'm going to steal your presentation to copy to this one. So when you look at, compare human milk to cow milk and goat milk, you see this blue part is lactose The gray part is fat, orange is protein, the yellow is ash. You can see actually human milk is quite different from cow and goat. And when you look at goat and cow, at first glance, they are pretty similar in the micronutrient composition. And when you look about the contribution to energy from protein, lactose, and fat, human milk is different from cow milk and goat milk. In human milk, the protein only provides 7% of energy, and in goat and cow milk, there are 25% energy comes from proteins, pretty high. And the lactose from human milk also provides quite some energies to the babies. So at the micronutrient level, goat milk and the cow milk, they are pretty similar. When we look deeper into the composition of each macronutrient, here I gave an example of protein. When you look at protein, there are two types of milk proteins in milk, whey protein and casein. Athlete already introduced that in human milk, it's whey protein dominant. 60% of the milk protein is whey protein. But in cow milk and goat milk, it's other way around, casein dominant, 80% casein. And other things, whey protein, the composition, human milk is different from goat and cow. Goat and cow, pretty similar. Another component is non-protein nitrogen, this NPN. It seems goat milk is quite similar to human milk, so it has more non-protein nitrogen. What is interesting is the casein of goat milk. Here I show you the composition of casein of goat milk, human milk, and cow milk. The first one is goat milk, breast milk. The very big part of human milk casein is beta-casein, which is higher in goat milk than cow milk. Another interesting part is this black square is alpha S2 casein, which is not present in human milk, but it's present in goat milk and cow milk. I think this color is not okay. So in the goat milk, the alpha S2 casein is much lower than cow milk. In conclusion, the goat milk casein is much more similar to human milk casein. The fat, vitamin, and minerals of goat milk, Athlete gave a quite good discussion already. But I like to mention here is milk fat in the infant formula is always removed. When we make infant formula, most of the time we remove goat milk, milk fat, and replace with vegetable oil. And for vitamins and minerals, we always adjust the level of them to fulfill the requirement of regulation. So the level of mineral and vitamins in goat milk is not very relevant to the level in the infant formula. So by seeing this, I have a question for you. I heard quite often that goat milk is lower in vitamin B12 and folic acid. My question is, if a baby receives goat milk infant formula, will a baby have this deficiency of these two vitamins? If you think yes, please raise your hand. The answer is no, because in the infant formula, we adjust the level of vitamin B12 and folic acid to the level according to the regulation, which is enough for the babies. So babies fed goat milk infant formula will not get a deficiency of these two vitamins. Another interesting component in the goat milk is milk oligosaccharide. Professor Dickhausen already gave an in-depth introduction to this. What I like to mention here is the oligosaccharides in goat milk is much higher than in cow milk, than in sheep milk. And also, the diversity is more, and the overlap to human milk is more than cow milk. In this sense of oligosaccharides, goat milk seems to more close to human milk. But we have to pay attention that the lactation stage and also the species of the goat will influence the content of oligosaccharides. Another interesting component in the goat milk is nucleotides. Goat milk is naturally high in nucleotides. It's higher than cow milk. We did a study ourselves. Here you see infant formula. This is a goat milk-based infant formula. It's in the dark bar, and the red bar is cow milk infant formula. This is a formula for 0 to 6 months. This is formula for 6 to 12 months. We found that the goat milk infant formula has much higher nucleotides than cow milk-based infant formula. Nucleotides are regarded to have some benefits for the babies. In this sense, goat milk is more beneficial than the cow milk. We published this in a post in Espargam. So goat milk, from composition, we can see, seems more close to human milk. But how about the functionality, performance of goat milk? Here I show you the bioavailability, so in other words, digestibility, absorption. There's quite some in vitro studies or animal studies which show that goat milk has higher bioavailability than cow milk in protein, fat, and several minerals. So goat protein and fat and some minerals in the goat milk is better digested than the cow milk. This is from the in vitro and the animal study. This gave a base for us to think, how about digestion of our infant formula? I will come back to this later about the infant formula. One interesting topic is the allergenicity of goat milk. I'd like to ask you again, what do you think? When a baby is diagnosed, confirmed with cow milk protein allergy, can this baby use goat milk infant formula? No. Yes, thank you. Why? Why is this? It's not, goat milk is more allergenic than the cow milk. The reason is actually about the allergenicity of goat milk, we basically don't know enough. There are very limited data about allergenicity of goat milk to draw a conclusion. There are the prevalence of goat milk allergy, we don't know. And also there are some cross-reaction between goat milk protein and the cow milk protein. And if we look at all the published papers, some papers say goat milk is less allergenic than the cow milk. Some papers say, well, they are equal allergenic. And there are also very interesting paper that study different species of goat. Seems the goat milk from different species of goat will have different allergenicity. So because of this uncertainty, very limited data, goat milk is not recommended to use when a baby is confirmed to have cow milk allergy. So above, I talk about goat milk. So goat milk, it seems some components of the goat milk is more close to human milk, and the performance of goat milk is also a bit better than the cow milk. Now I come to goat milk infant formula. How about his nutrition and about his health insights? We are firmly stand behind WHO recommendation, breastfeeding is the best. like I mentioned, goat milk is very different from goat milk infant formula. In Ausnutria, goat milk comes into our factory. In the factory, we process the milk to make infant formula. My colleague Eric will give a very detailed introduction of this making of infant formula. Because of this processing, the milk structure, all the characteristics changed a little bit. So goat milk infant formula is a little bit different from goat milk. Like what I mentioned, we adjust mineral level and also vitamin level to fulfill baby's requirement. We also replace the milk fat with vegetable fat to make the fat acid composition more to the human milk. So how about goat milk infant formula? About this composition about this infant formula. The goat milk infant formula, its composition, just like any other infant formula, is strictly regulated by law, by regulation. So different regions we have different regulations. We all have to follow the regulations. The regulations make sure that in your infant formula there are enough nutrients to support baby growth. So our carburetor also follows a strict regulation. Some specialties of a carburetor is goat milk, the whey protein and casein protein ratio. In the goat milk, it's casein dominant, 80% of casein. But in the carburetor, we add goat milk whey protein to increase the percentage of whey in the infant formula. So in our carburetor, whey casein ratio 60:40. It's the same as in human milk. Besides adjusting this whey casein ratio, we also add other goodies to the infant formula. So the goodies means it's not regulated by the regulation, it's not required, but we think it's benefit for the babies, so we add goodies. Some nice goodies we add, for instance, is the high beta palmitate, so as OPO, to make the fat, to increase the fat absorption. We also add GOS and FOS, so prebiotics, and we also add other goodies to make the infant formula more close to human milk. So we are very proud of our product. So to our knowledge, we make a product which is safe, which can support growth of babies, but we also add things that might be beneficial for the babies. So how about digestion of infant formula? The digestion of goat milk seems better. How about digestion of infant formula? So I will show you here several studies to test the digestibility of goat milk infant formula. Here, this study, very interesting study, that tests 4 types of infant formula. So 2 types of goat milk infant formula, 2 types of cow. And the 2 types of goat milk infant formula, one is with a whey casein ratio 60:40. That's similar to our carburetor. Another one is casein dominant, so 80% percent of casein. For cow, it's the same. So this study starts the curd formation of this infant formula. After introduced that the goat milk forms soft curd, just like when you make cheese. Goat cheese is always softer than cow cheese. So is this true also with infant formula? In this test, it shows it's true that compared to the cow infant formula, goat milk formula, they form soft curd. And also when you compare in the same species milk, so when you compare goat milk infant formula, whey dominant with casein dominant, it seems the casein-dominant infant formula forms harder curd. So if you have a high whey content, like in Cabrita 60%, the curd formed is softer than the casein-dominant infant formula. So if the curd is soft, it may facilitate digestion of protein. The digestion will be easy and fast. If you don't understand or you have questions, please just raise your hand, just ask me. This is a second study. In this study, it's the same setting, 2 types of goat milk formula, 2 types of cow milk formula with different ratios, whey dominant and casein dominant. In this study, they use an in vitro system. It's sort of simulated stomach. They put this infant formula in the stomach to see how those infant formula was digested in the simulated stomach. In this study, they show that indeed, compared to cow milk infant formula, goat milk infant formula, they form very small aggregates in the stomach. You can see here the photo, the aggregates of goat milk infant formula is smaller than the cow infant formula. And they think these smaller aggregates will facilitate digestion. So digestion of these smaller aggregates is faster than the big aggregates. In other words, goat milk infant formula digestion is faster than and better than the cow infant formula. When you compare those 2 types of goat infant formulas, whey dominant, as in Cabrita, casein dominant, you can see the casein dominant goat milk infant formula form bigger aggregates than the whey dominant goat milk infant formula, which may say the digestion of this one is easier and faster. So the whey dominant infant formula digestion is better than the casein dominant infant formula. And the third study, I will proudly present, is a study of our company. In this study, we also use an in vitro system. It's a tiny team system. This tiny team system looks like this. This system contains a stomach and a small intestine. So you have to use your imagination. See, this is stomach and the small intestine. So in this study, we compare digestion of protein of human milk, goat milk infant formula, and cow milk infant formula. And the cow and the goat milk infant formula are all, both whey predominant. What we find is, if you look at this graph, the upper one, this graph shows digestion of protein during the 4 hours digestion. The upper one is human milk. The digestion is fast and good. Second line is Cabrita. The third line is a cow milk infant formula. What we can see here is that the digestion of Cabrita closely follow the human milk. And in the first 2 hours digestion, the digestion of Cabrita is faster than cow. In the last 2 hours, cow is faster than goat milk and breast milk. So from this study, we find that the protein digestion dynamics of goat milk formula is more similar to human milk than the cow milk infant formula. This one we published recently in a journal. And my marketing people made a very good video to show this study.
As you know, protein is an essential nutrient for healthy growth and development of infants. Breast milk contains high-quality protein and is the best source of nutrition for infants. If a mother is unable to breastfeed her baby, infant formula based on goat milk protein is a safe and approved alternative. Over the years, protein digestion of breast milk has been studied thoroughly. But how about goat milk infant formula? To find out, we investigated the digestibility of whey protein-enriched infant formulas based on goat milk or cow's milk with breast milk as a reference. For this research, we made use of Tiny Tim, a dynamic in vitro gastrointestinal model simulating the digestive conditions of infants aged 1 to 6 months. Here's a simplified version of how the system works. One type of milk was tested in the model at a time. The milk proteins were digested by enzymes. We measured the peptides and amino acids available for absorption for 4 hours. One of the important findings was that the protein digestion dynamics of Cabrita goat milk infant formula closely resembled those of breast milk. This is a valuable step in our journey to study how the natural composition of goat milk can contribute to the health and well-being of our smallest consumers.
This is a study by our company. There will continue to a next study to study the digestibility of goat milk infant formula. In this study, the digestibility of the infant formula, goat milk infant formula, is tested in piglets. In the piglets, they use goat milk infant formula, but casein dominant, and cow milk infant formula, whey dominant. They feed the piglets for 2 weeks, the infant formula. What they find is they have similar true amino acid digestibility of all amino acids, except for glycine tryptophan. Tryptophan is a little bit lower in the goat milk infant formula. This one, I personally think maybe it's related to lower whey protein percentage, because the tryptophan you always find in the whey protein section. And nitrogen retention is similar in the piglets. Based on these results, it concludes that the protein quality and digestibility is similar between the goat milk infant formula and cow infant formula. So a lot of study on digestion of goat milk infant formula. And now I will show you how infant formula performs in babies. So when we make an infant formula, what is important? Of course, the baby grows on your infant formula, and it's safe for the babies. How can we test this? We have to use clinical trial to test that. I will show you here 2 well-designed clinical study to test the growth and the safety of goat milk infant formula. The first study is performed by Jo and her colleague. In this study, they test goat milk infant formula, and this is a casein-dominant goat infant formula, so not from us. To compare to a cow milk infant formula, and with breastfeeding as a reference. And each group, they recruited about 100 babies. Those babies receive the breastfeeding or infant formula feeding for at least 4 months. And in the study, they measure the growth and also the safety of the infant formula. What they find is that the goat milk formula group, their growth is similar to the cow milk fed infant, and it's quite close to human milk group. And the goat milk infant formula is well tolerated. So from this, they conclude goat milk can support growth of baby and is safe. In this study, they also studied the gut microbiota of the baby. So from this 100 babies per group. They pick up 30 babies per group and collect stools from the baby and measure the gut microbiota. And they see some difference between the goat milk infant formula fed baby and the cow milk infant formula fed babies. So here you see the results that presented a diversity of this stool microbiota of those babies. What they see is that goat milk infant formula fed babies, they are more similar to breastfed babies, breast milk fed babies, than cow milk fed babies. So which it is a good sign that cow milk infant formula might have beneficial effects on the gut microbiota of the babies. But further research is needed to confirm this finding. To sum up of all the studies, so you get lost, one thing I like to mention is goat milk infant formula. From the studies, they can support normal growth of babies, and is well tolerated by the baby, so it's safe. That's very important for infant formula makers. But there might be some potential benefits of goat milk infant formula, but more research is needed. So we are still working very hard on this. So that's my presentation.